Hello everybody and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be showing you how to create and play note block music. So of course we know how a note block works in Minecraft. It's just a block, and when you place the block, whatever's underneath it will inform the sound of that block. So you right click it and it plays notes. And if you just want to look at note blocks independently, then we have a whole video on that much earlier in the course. But what you can actually do through the Paper API is play note block sounds without a note block being present. Now, of course, that opens us up for some amazing opportunities, and what we're going to be doing today is to play music using that. So I'll just play now a little sample of what this will sound like in-game once we've added it. So as you can hear, that is the song All Star by Smash Mouth. You probably know it from Shrek, or if you've been on the internet a long time, then you'll definitely know that song. But my point is to show to you that you can actually play songs like that in-game by using note block sounds, and honestly, it's a really streamlined process. We even have a whole file type for a note block song. So today's really a two-halved video. So the first half is looking into software called NoteblockAPI Studio, and with that software, that's going to show you how you can create all of your own songs. We'll have a quick look through that software and how to export your songs. In the second half of the video, we're going to use NoteblockAPI. Now that is a very popular and the most used API for note blocks, and it essentially allows us to play songs using the file type that's exported from NoteblockAPI Studio. And also, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks. For example, I have one huge bank of NBS songs. It's got hundreds of them in there, so you don't have to make any if you don't want to. I'll show you where you can download them from. But anyway, that's what you've got in store for today's video, so sit tight, it's going to be a fun one. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing I want to show you is how to create your own note block music. Now, the way NoteblockAPI works, and well, pretty much any other way of reading note blocks, is they take in a .nbs file type. Now, NBS stands for NoteblockAPI Studio, or some people might say NoteblockAPI Song, but as you can see, the software that we're going to be using is NoteblockAPI Studio. And so what we do is we're going to download this software. You can create a song from inside of here, and then you can export your song, which then NoteblockAPI will be able to read and then play to the player in-game, which is really cool. The integration is beautiful. So if you want to create your own custom songs, then follow this step and download NoteblockAPI Studio with me. If you don't want to create your own custom songs and you want to use the list that's available, then just skip ahead a little further in the video, because I will be doing that too, because I'm absolutely terrible at anything music related. So I'll not be making my own, I'll be playing All Star by Smash Mouth again, and I'll show you where to download that. So skip a little bit ahead, but if you're feeling creative today and you want to make your own song, then head to this link. It's going to be attached alongside this video. I'm going to click download and we'll install this together. So once your installs come, of course, just click I agree. Now these options are up to you. Do you want the shortcuts? I'll just take them off, click next, just install like normal, and then it'll just take a few seconds to go through. It's pretty lightweight software, so you don't need to worry too much. We'll click next, and then we might as well just start it up. We'll have a little play around inside the software. Okay, so you can see this is just pretty much what you'd expect. So we have the timeline in the middle, kind of like some editing software. Up here, we have all of the instruments. You can see we can change the instrument to double bass, bass drum, snare drum, click, guitar, bell. Now all of these instruments are obviously ones which are allowed in Minecraft. You can even see they have the little block which corresponds to it right next to it. There's wooden planks, that looks like a pumpkin, emerald block. So yeah, this whole software is operating within the constraints of vanilla Minecraft. So that's where you set the instruments, and then down here of course is where you set which key. I mean, I guess this informs the pitch or so on. So what we'll do is we'll actually make a song together, a very basic one. And this is going to be really embarrassing for me, but I'm going to do it for your guys' sake. So you're going to head up here, choose whichever one you fancy. So I think it's only right, we'll start with the harp. And then let's say every 4 beats I want the harp to go, let's pick a key. Let's say this one, F4. Every 4 beats, just like that. Okay. And then let's say should we get something more bassy? Let's say a bass, and we pick one of these lower ones like this. Okay. And then let's say I want it like this. This is going to sound so awful, but that's not the point. Oh, it's going to sound like a racket. And then let's pick another one. Let's do instrument to chime. Let's pick a fairly high-pitched one. And we'll just do... Alright. Now, we'll play this, and just please remember that this is just an amalgamation of just complete random sounds. So don't judge me. I'm not trying to become a producer. But let's go ahead and come to the top left and just click play. Okay, so I don't think I'm making it to Hollywood. However, we can export this now and actually be able to play it in-game. So if you actually want to make a song properly, then just pause the video, make something really cool, spend, if you want, hours on it, make something really cool, because whatever you make in here will be compatible with Minecraft, so don't worry. The software operates within the constraints of what's doable via NoteblockAPI in Minecraft. Okay, and exporting is super simple, so just head to File, Save Song, and then you just choose where you'd like to save it. So let's just save my music folder. Of course, where you would save it is what we're going to be doing in today's video is saving it inside the plugin folder on your server. So I'll show you how to drag a song into there when I actually go and grab my song from the NBS file list. But all you do, type a name in here. Let's just say Racket, because this song is a racket. Save just like that, and we now have access to that NBS file. So that's perfect, guys. That's the first half of the video. This is a very basic overview of how to create NBS music or NoteblockAPI music. Obviously, as you can see, it gets a lot more advanced. You have all these layers, but at the end of the day, really, you just have the instruments, the timeline, and the specific sounds you want to make with the instruments. I think that seems pretty clear, and obviously if you're someone who's into music, this will make a lot more sense to you, and so I hope you have a lot of fun with that. But for me, I'm going to go grab a song from the internet. So I'm going to show you a website that my team and I have created. It's MC Utils. I've showed you this a few times in the course. My team and I made this site to help streamline the Minecraft development experience, and we have loads of different utils, but one of them, which is a personal favorite of mine, is the Noteblock Songs util. Now, there's not much to it. It's very simply just a massive index of all the known online Noteblock songs. So you literally just type in a song name, for example, let's say Despacito. There we go, we have that. Literally any song, any famous song is probably going to be in here. And so if you're lazy or uncreative like me, then you can come here, grab an NBS song, stick it in your server folder, and I'll show you how to make that work with NoteblockAPI. So for me, I'm going to do the song that I did at the very start of the video, which was All Star by Smash Mouth. So I'll go here, click download, and you'll see it's just downloading right there, which is perfect. Okay, and so now the fun starts. So now we need to understand and get familiar with what NoteblockAPI is. So NoteblockAPI is, as I said, the most common and most used, and to be honest, it looks like most downloaded API to deal with noteblocks on the marketplace. Now, I've got to admit, it's a bit difficult to find like documentation on this, and the instructions aren't great. However, I've got a lovely little wiki here, which we're going to follow together, where we're going to add the NoteblockAPI to our build.gradle.kts, and then I'm going to show you a very basic example of how to actually play the songs and enjoy it. So, it's very simple, guys. As usual, we're going to add this as a dependency to our build.gradle.kts. Now, the reason we're adding it as a dependency is so that we can actually use the NoteblockAPI classes from within our plugin. And that's just so that we can actually play songs, we can tell it to play things. So what we'll do is, we'll start with the repository. So the repository is going to be, we're going to do Maven, and then we're going to type in the actual repository, which is Jetpack. So HTTPS, just like a regular link, jetpack.io. Now Jetpack is just a very common public repository. Anyone can connect their Git account to it, and then some of their GitHub repositories can be available to use in Gradle or Maven through Jetpack. And then we'll just go ahead and pop in the dependency. So now the dependency is going to be compile only. Now I realize that's in contrast to some other dependencies we've used. So the main two ones are implementation, which means that we actually include the dependency inside of our jar. Now we're not going to do that, we're going to do compile only. And I realize the name's not great, but compile only means it actually doesn't get compiled with your jar. It's only available at compilation time, basically, so it doesn't come with your jar. So we're going to do compile only, and the reason for that is because NoteblockAPI is going to be a plugin on the server. That's just how it works. So we're going to do compile only, like this, and then we pop in the actual dependency. So we do com.github.koca2000, and then NoteblockAPI, And then the latest version that was available to me on that website was 1.6.2. However, you choose whatever version. Of course, that's not Minecraft version. That is just his own version, and that's the latest one that's available. So we'll go ahead and reload Gradle, just to give this a little kick up the backside. And it should then download that dependency and then add it to our Gradle. You can see it's downloading it right there. So that's perfect. Okay, so now we should have access to all of the NoteblockAPI classes from within our plugin here. So what we'll do before we actually get into any of the code is we will add the NoteblockAPI.jar as a plugin, and then also add our NBS file within our plugin folder. Now I want to do that before we get into the code because of course we need to use the NBS file inside of our code. So of course I've opened the run folder. Now remember that when we run server, this is just the server it's running inside of here, so you can customize it all. Head to plugins, and we're going to pop in firstly the NoteblockAPI jar. Now keep in mind that I've grabbed it from here, the official Spigot page. This will be linked alongside this video, so just click download now, wait a few seconds, and then you're going to drag it into the plugins folder, just like this. Okay, perfect. And you can also see that the version is lining up with the one we had in our build.gradle.kts, which is good news. So you can pause the video, make sure you've got that jar and sort that out. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is make it so that we can access the NBS file that we want. So we downloaded it earlier, or you may have actually created your own, in which case, well done, that's awesome. But either way, we need to get our NBS file on the server somehow. So if you don't have a plugin folder already, then go ahead and create one. Remember that your plugin folder will have to have the same name as the name you put in the plugin.yml. So test plugin, make sure it has the exact same name. And then what we're going to do is go ahead and put in our NBS file inside of our plugin folder. Now this is just generally good practice. Of course, you've got to remember that when you're on somebody else's server, you're not really expected to be taking up any space besides what's inside your plugin folder. And so we're going to keep the NBS files inside of our little plot of land here, basically. So I'm going to drag in that all-star file. Of course, you drag in whatever you want here. Maybe you should have tried a different song. That could be cool. So I'll drag it in. And there we go, add it to my test plugin folder. And the reason we're doing this ultimately is just so that we can now access this file from within our plugin, because if it's now in our plugin folder. So what we'll do is, I think a command might be in order here. We'll have a /playsong command. And we'll make it so that that command will recognize our file and then use NoteblockAPI to play it to the person who ran the command. So we're just going to write a command as usual. Playsong command. Of course, I always know this feels a bit long-winded, but it is unfortunately just what we have to do. So we're going to implement these members just as usual. Okay. What we'll do is head to the main class, get command, playsong, set executor, new instance of playsong command, and then head to the plugin.yml, and then do commands, playsong, just like that. And that's all it is to register a nice command. Okay, so let's have a think about what we're going to do inside of this playsong command. Firstly, I'm going to make sure that they're a player, because if the console runs this or a command block, I'm going to be very concerned because they can't hear sounds. So we'll do if sender is not an instance of player, then just return false real quick. Perfect. Okay, so now we know that they're a player, so now there's no need to mess about, we'll just play them a nice song. Of course, if you were doing this on a production server, you would do some more validation. For example, have they already got a song playing? Are they in a state where they currently shouldn't be listening to a song, etc, etc. For me, I'm just going to show you the NoteblockAPI code to actually get this song playing for the player. So now, the code I'm going to teach you today comes straight from the wiki. So if you go to this repository, which is linked alongside this video, of course, this is all the source code for NoteblockAPI, and you head to the wiki section, you'll see all of this information. So you can use this if you want to find out all of the other things you can do with this plugin. Now for me, I just actually want to play a song. So if I head to the playing song section, you can see there's 4 types of radio. So you have radio song player, which plays a song for all added players to the radio, no matter where they are. Position song player, which plays a song for all added players within a specific range from a specified point. Noteblock song player, which plays a song for all added players in a specified range from a specified noteblock block, and an entity song player, which plays a song for all added players in specified range from specified entity. So obviously you want to use which one works in your use case. Now for me, because I'm teaching all of you guys, I'm going to use the most generic use case, which I think would be the radio song player. So I'll go ahead and write that out now, but just know that if you want any more information, for example, all of this advanced stuff you can do, then you know where to go. It will be linked alongside this video. Okay, so as I said, we're going to create a radio song player. So very simply, val, we'll just call it radio, equals a new instance of radio song player. Of course, make sure it's the undeprecated one. Just like that. And then the parameters that it wants is the song. You can also see that you can give it a playlist of songs, which is really cool, but we just want to give it a song. Now the way that we can get a song from a file is by writing nbs decoder.parse, and you see that we have to pop in our file. Now we can get the file by creating a new instance of a file. Make sure it's the java.io.file. And then the first parameter for this is going to be the actual folder. Now fortunately we can get that from the main class. So what we'll do is we'll just use a bit of basic dependency injection and we'll just pass through the actual data folder. So if I just pass through here, I'll do data folder. That's going to pass through that file, and then we'll come and receive it on this end. So we'll do val data folder, make it equal to a file. There we go. So the error should be gone. Perfect. And now we can simply pop in as the first parameter, the data folder. So that's the folder itself. Now the second parameter that we want is the name of the file. Now, of course, this completely depends on what you put there. I know that mine is called allstar.nbs, exactly like that. So first parameter is a data folder, which we can only get, of course, from the main class. That's covered in all of the file-related videos. And the second parameter is the name. So it's going to look inside of our data folder, aka the plugin folder, for a file of this name. It will throw an error if it doesn't have this file. But of course, you should have this file, so it shouldn't be a problem. And then we just need to set some settings on the radio. So if we do .apply, we could do, firstly, I want to add player. So we'll add the sender to the radio. And then I want to set is playing equal to true. That'll actually just kickstart it to get playing. But now you can change so many different properties of this. For example, if you want to have it in repeat mode, so it'll continue to repeat, then you can do that. If you wanted to maybe change the volume, you can do that. There's so much stuff you can do. For now, I'm just going to add the player and make it playing equals to true. Of course, in order to hear it, you do have to add the player to it on this type of radio. So for me, I'm very happy with that. So what I'm going to do is just end this off. We'll do return false. And to be honest, we don't even need to make this a variable because we're not using it. We can just do it like that. Nice and tidy. All right, I'm very happy with this code. I think it's all really cool. So now that we've got NoteblockAPI on the server and we have this file inside of our plugin folder, I see no reason why this wouldn't work. So I'll go ahead and go to Gradle, run server, and I will hopefully see you guys in a second with some nice music. Okay, so I'm joining my server now. I think this is really exciting. Hopefully we're going to hear the song from Shrek play when I run /play song. Okay, so make sure you've got your sound on, and then head to /play song. How awesome is that? So we actually have that playing live and it's working, and that's sick. So guys, let me go ahead and turn that off. But what we've done here today is learn how to create any custom song you want. The only limit genuinely is your imagination. You can create anything within that NoteBlock Studio, or if you're lazy like me, you can take anything from my long list, which is of course attached alongside this video. But whatever way you source your file, you can use NoteblockAPI to, as you can see in the code, very simply play it. I mean, that wasn't much effort at all. From this, you can make a massive system where you can offer loads of songs. You can have people the ability to play songs or stop them, put them on shuffle, basically like an in-game Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube. That would be really cool. There's so much you can do from this, but guys, I really hope you learned something today, and I hope that was valuable to you. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.